In this video, we will discuss about take K of each character from left and right. You are given a string S consisting of the characters A, B, C and a non-negative integer K. Each minute you may take either the leftmost character of S or the rightmost character of S. Return the minimum number of minutes needed for you to take at least K of each character, or return -1 if it is not possible to take K of each character. So what they are saying is that in the input we are given a string S which consists of only 3 characters, which is A, B and C, and we are given a positive integer K. Now in a minute we can select one character from the string S, either from the leftmost side or from the rightmost side. Our goal is to select at least K occurrences of all A, B and C, right? And then whenever we are taking a character, that counts as 1 minute, right? So if for taking at least K occurrences of A, B and C, you had to take 7 characters, let's suppose. So in that case, 7 will be the number of minutes, right? And that 7 has to be returned as your answer. Now, you need to minimize this number. You need to minimize the number of minutes, right? So if in this case, if you see, we need to select at least 2 occurrences of A, B and C, right? So A, B and C, initially they are 0. So we will select the leftmost element, which is A, right? So the count will become 1. Then we will select one more A, count will become 2, right? Then we need to select B, next is B, we can take this. So B also became 1, right? Now here B is not there, so let's take from the rightmost side because we need to minimize it. So first we will have to take this C, so C will be 1 now. Then we will have to take this B, so B will become 2 now. Now only C is left. Now we have taken this much and this much, right? If we try to take C from the leftmost side, then we will have to take 5 elements. But if we will take C from the rightmost side, we will only have to take 3 characters, right? So in this case, A will become 4 and C will become 2, right? So how many characters you took? You took 8 characters. So in this case, the answer will be 8, right? So this is what you need to do. So see, one of the brute force approach is that for every character, you will have 2 choices. You will have 2 choices, either pick it or do not pick it, right? In your answer, either you will pick that character or you will not pick that character. Based on the count of ABC, you will decide it, right? And then you will also minimize the number of characters that you are taking, right? So that will leave you with a lot of possibilities, right? Because each possibility will in turn give you double possibilities, right? So that will lead to a 2 to the power n solution, which won't work in this case because the length of string is going to be 10 to the power 5 max, right? That is why we will have to think of some other solution, right? So see, since we are only allowed to take characters either from the leftmost or from the rightmost of the string, so can I say that there will be some window, some length window which will be present on the leftmost side, and then there will be some window of some length on the rightmost side, right? And this is what we would have considered, right? So till now, whatever sliding window problems we have solved, we had only one window and we were identifying that what should be the logic for moving that sliding window here and there, and what should be the logic for expanding and shrinking it. But here, if we go by this approach, then we would be having 2 sliding windows, right? And we will have to identify when to shrink one, when to expand one, and all that stuff, right? So this will be kind of complex, right? So instead what we can do is, so see, in your final answer, you had taken these many characters, right? This was the window from the starting, this was the window from the ending. These are the characters that you didn't take at all, right? So see, I am saying that if I would had one window in string S and through that I had to identify the answer, then it would be much easier for me, right? So what I can do is that instead of finding out these 2 windows, I will try to find this window, right? I will try to find this window, because if you will have the length of this window, which in this case is 4, can't you subtract it from the length of string S? So length of string S is 12. If you will subtract the length of this window from 12, it will give you 8, which is nothing but the length of these two windows, right? You are only concerned with the length of all these characters, right? So I need to identify this window. Now for identifying this window, there are a few conditions. Now this window has to be the longest. Now, why this has to be the longest? Because the question has asked us to minimize these characters. We need to minimize the count of these characters, right? So, if we are minimizing it, then that means we should maximize it. So, we will try to identify the longest window here, the longest window possible. And the other thing is, this window should be such that there are at least k occurrences of A, B, and C outside of this window, right? See, in these, we wanted at least k occurrences of ABC, right? So this window should be the longest, and this window should be such that there are at least k occurrences of A, B, and C outside of this window, that is here and here. Because if, let us suppose, in this case, B is present only 2 times, and in this window, you have considered it to be this much, right? Now, here you are left with AA, and here you are left with only C. There is no B at all, and C is also not at least K, right? So then that means this is not a valid window. There should be at least K occurrences of A, B, and C outside of this window, right? Because that is what we are supposed to do, right? So our question boils down to finding the window, which is this. It should be longest, or I can say we should maximize its length, and it should leave at least k occurrences of A, B, and C outside of it, right? Now, how are we going to identify this window? So see, in the cases where the answer is not possible, when that case will occur, when you don't have at least k occurrences of A, B, and C inside the string S, right? So what you can do is that initially itself you can count the occurrences of A, B, and C in your string S, right? So if, let us suppose, I have a count vector which stores the count of A, B, and C, right? So A are total 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8, right? B is 1 and 2, and C is also 2, right? So these are our counts of A, B, and C. Now, if either of these three is having their count less than K, then that means answer is not possible. So we will return -1 straight away, right? Otherwise, we will move forward. When we know that the answer will surely exist, only then we will move forward, right? So now, this is telling us the count of A, B, and C in the entire string S. Now, when we are trying to find out that longest window in the middle, we should also know that what is the count of A, B, and C inside that window. Because through this count and through that window's count, we will be able to identify that how many A, B, and C are present outside of this window, right? Because outside of this window, we want at least K ABCs, right? So that is why we will have to take another vector, let's suppose window count, which will give us the count of A, B, and C in the window that we are considering. So initially, all of these will be 0, right? So now, since we are considering a window, it will definitely be going to have a start and an ending index, right? So we will have a start, which will initially be 0, and an end, which will also be initially 0, and it will go till n, right? Where n is the number of characters in the string, right? And now our goal is to maximize the length of this window, right? So we will also take a variable maxi, whose initial value we can keep as 0, right? So see, now your start and end will be at the first index. So I'm denoting them with S and E. So first you are at this particular index, right? So then that means you have considered this A into your window, right? So the count of A will be incremented by 1, right? Now you will see. So basically, at every point, whenever we are taking a character into our window, we will check the count of all A, B, and C, and we will check that is there any of them which is violating our condition. So basically through this count and through the window count, we will identify is there any of these three which is violating the condition of having at least k ABCs outside the window, right? So when you have considered this A into the window count, now you will check that is count of A minus window count of A less than k, right? So in this case, 8 minus 1 is 7. So that is okay. Still, we are having 7 occurrences outside of the window. So that is fine, right? For B, it will be 2 minus 0, that is 2. And for C also, it will be 2 minus 0, that is 2. So this is also fine. So this can be one of the possible window, right? So what we will do is, we will take its length and we will update the maximum, right? So its length will be end minus start plus 1. So this is 0 minus 0 plus 1, right? So our maximum will be updated to 1, right? Now again, as we do every time, we will move our end forward. So end will come here, right? Now again, we are considering A. So the count of A will be incremented by 1. Now again, you will see 8 minus 2 is 6. That is okay. 2 minus 0, okay. 2 minus 0, okay. Right. So then that means this is also one of the possible windows. Its length is 2. So our maximum will be updated with 2. Right. Then again, we will expand our window. So end will come here. Now you will see that B has become 1. Now again you will check 8 minus 2 is 6, that is okay. 2 minus 1 is 1, which is less than k. Then that means this cannot be the window, because if I will consider this as a window, then outside of it we will have only one occurrence of B, but we needed at least k occurrences. So this is violating our condition. So in this case, what we will do is, we will shrink our window. We will shrink our window and we will try to remove this B from our window, right? So that there are at least k occurrences of B present outside, right? So what we will do is, we will move this S forward until again all these three does not satisfy the condition, right? So in the first case, you got that, okay, 2 minus 1 is giving us 1. So then that means I should shrink my window. So S will come here now and it will be decremented by 1 from the window count, right? And then again, 2 minus 1 is 1 still. So we will again move the start forward. So start will come here now and this will become 0. We will again move the start forward. So start will come here now and B will be 0 again, right? But now our start has crossed the end, so we cannot move start more further, right? We will have to move end towards the right, because start will always be present before the end. So what will happen is that now we will again move this end by 1, so end will come here now, right? And also when end was here, you would have considered this also, this window also, but this is not a valid window, right? And also when you will do their difference, what you will get? We do end minus start plus 1, which is 2 minus 3 plus 1, which is minus 1 plus 1, that is 0, right? So that is okay, right? So now in the next iteration, our end will come here. Now we have considered A, so the count of A will become 1 now, right? And again we will check 8 minus 1 is 7, okay. 2 minus 0, 2, okay. 2 minus 0, 2, okay, right? So again we will move our end forward, and also maximum won't be updated because that window's length was 1, which is smaller than 2. Now end has come here, it will become 2. Then you will check the conditions are satisfied, so this will update the maximum, but it is already 2. Then again end will come here. Now the count of A will become 3. Still it is satisfying our conditions, so it will update the maximum. Now the length of the window is 3, so maximum will be updated to 3 now. And again we will move our end forward, so end will come here. The count of A will become 4. Still it is satisfying the condition, so this is also one of the possible windows. Its length is 4, so maximum will be updated to 4. And then end will move forward, end will come here. Now it is C, so the count of C will become 1. Now it is going to violate the condition. 2 minus 1 is 1, which is less than k. Then that means now we should shrink our window. So we will move our S towards the right until this condition is not satisfied, right? So we will move this start from here and then here and then here and then here and then again here, right? So what will happen is, so this was count 4. So the count of A will become 0 and the count of C will also become 0, right? And S will be here. Now again for this it will be 7 minus 8 plus 1, which is 0. So maximum won't get affected, and in the next iteration we will move E forward. So E will come here, right? Now again you will see that we have considered A, so the count of A will become 1. None of the conditions are violated. This is one of the possible windows of length 1, but maximum is 4. It will remain as is. Then end will move forward, end will come here. Count of A will become 2. Still the conditions are satisfied. This is also possible window. Maximum will remain as is. Then again end will come here. Now the count of B will become 1. Now it is violating our condition. So we will shrink our window. We will move start towards the right. So it will go from here to here to here. So the count of A will become 0 and B also will become 0 and S will be here. And this length won't be considered. So in the next iteration again end will come here now. Now for this count of C will become 1. Now the condition is violated. So we will move the S forward. So S will come here now. We cannot go further, right? So now when in the next iteration your end will come here, your string will be exhausted. So we can say that whatever is present in this maximum, which is 4, that is the length of the window that we were trying to identify, which is this window, right? Now at the end, simply what we can do is, what will be our answer? Our answer will be n minus maxi, which will be 12 minus 4, that is 8. Simply this we have to return, right? So I hope you got the gist of the problem. Let's quickly code it out. So first of all, we will create a vector count for counting the occurrences of A, B and C. So its length will be 3 and the count will be 0 initially. And in a variable n, we will take the length of our string S, right? Then we will iterate inside the string and we will update our count vector. So count C minus A plus plus. So this will basically give 0 index for A, 1 index for B and second index for C, right? And then we will iterate inside the count vector and we will check that what is the count that we are getting. So if in any case the count of I is less than K, then we will return -1 here itself. Otherwise we need to find out that longest window, right? And we should also know the count of ABC within that window. So we will create a vector window count. Its length will also be 3 and initially it will be 0, all the values. Then we will take a start variable which will be 0 and a maxi variable. So this will also be 0. Now our end should go from 0 till n, right? Now inside this, since we are considering the current element or the current character, which is the index end in string S, so we should update its count also in the window count, right? So window count S end minus A plus plus. So it will increment the count of the index end in string S by 1 in the window count, right? Now we need to check that if our window is violating our condition of having at least K ABC outside of the window, right? So while our start is less than equals to end, right? Because as soon as our start goes after end, then we cannot go further because that is not a valid condition, right? So while our start is less than equals to end and any of these is true, any of these what? Count of 0, which is count of A, minus window count of A, right? If it is less than K, right? Or count of 1, that is B, minus window count of 1 is less than K. Or count of 2, that is C, minus window count of 2 is less than K. So if any of these are true, in that case, we will have to shrink our window. We will move our start towards the right, right? And since we are moving it, so we will decrement the count of that particular character from the window count also, right? So in the window count at S start minus A, we will do minus minus and then we will do start plus plus, right? And then once you come out of this loop, you will update your maxi to the maximum of maxi comma end minus start plus 1, right? And at the end, you can simply return n minus maxi, right? So let's quickly run this. So our test cases are accepted. Let's submit this. So it got accepted. Thank you so much for watching. Please like the video and subscribe our channel.